Welcome to this week's masterclass. We have Jason Posnick in the house. He is going to be talking about
DISC, personality types, and how to make more money in less time, really, is what we're going to do.
Okay, well, I like that a lot. I'm sure everyone likes it as well. So just remember these calls are recorded. They are on our podcast and they're on YouTube. And so if you guys ever want to go back or send us to somebody, you can at a later time. So Jason, let's go ahead and take it away.
Let's hit it. All right, guys, girls, first of all, if there's something specific you want to know about DISC, throw it in the chat. I will try to hit, or I will hit every single question possible. My goal with every training, and normally if it's in person, I always ask, what do you want to learn before we start? So if there's something specific, like Sandra said, working with analyticals, let me know. The reason why I love teaching DISC is because, like I said earlier, it will genuinely save you more time. What it's going to help you do when you truly understand DISC, well, you're going to, know yourself better. You're going to be able to better recognize who you're working with. And I don't mean who they are as a person, like their name, but internally, subconsciously, psychologically, who they are. See, what I'm going to teach you guys today is how to identify people by personality type. And when you do that, you'll know their biggest fear. You'll know the single most important thing to them. You'll know the questions to ask them, how to speak with them, how to dress around them, but most importantly, how to overcome their objections and convey confidence. So I'm going to get into it, leverage that chat. Tell me what you want to learn. I'm going to share my screen. If you can't see it, let me know. This is the first PowerPoint I've done in years. So it's probably like a second grade level, but it's good enough for me. How do I start it now? All right, let's see. Nazar, where's the play button?
I don't use PowerPoint either. I use Google things. So it's got to be go under view.
Well, you know what? We're just doing it. So obviously, you guys see the quote down there: seek first to understand and then to be understood. All right. One of my favorite quotes in sales, because we spend so much time talking at people versus with them. The best salespeople, the best sales leaders, they're able to solve problems. And what happens so often in real estate and in sales in general is we're so focused on what we want to say, what we want to get across, that we fail to actually meet the client where they're at. And so seek first to understand is about asking first, it's about understanding, what does the client want to get out of this engagement? What is the problem that they need solved in order for you to earn their business? Just like the start of this training, I said, what do you guys want to learn? Because I want to make sure that I'm actually giving you value. Because if I don't, well, then 3 minutes in, you're gonna tune off. You're gonna finish your haircut and finish your nails. So I ask you guys this question. You're on a bus in a foreign country and you hear everyone around you speaking a language you've never heard. You have no idea what they're saying. And then you hear one random guy or girl say something like, God bless America. How do you feel about that person?
Instant connection.
You what?
Instant connection.
Instant connection, right? Because people like people, to answer that first question, like them. People like people. We all like people like us, or like the person we want to be, like the identity that we want to be like, right? I used to always, and I still to this day, look up to people like Tom Ferry, like Jocko Willink, right? I always wanted to have Tom's level of knowledge and charisma and Jocko's ability to lean into heavy discipline. I've never met Jocko Willink. He might be the biggest dick in the world, but reading his books, watching his videos, I want to be like him. So naturally, I like him. Now, with that said, just because people like them doesn't mean that you have to change who you are. But what it does mean is that when you can align with somebody, they're going to naturally feel more trust. They're going to naturally feel a better connection. And what's really, really cool is when they trust you and feel connected to you, they stop ghosting you. They actually tell you what's wrong. And when they have an objection, they're giving you what the actual root is versus I've got to think about it. I got to sleep on it. See, the key to overcoming objections is hitting the root, but so often we don't even get there because we don't have alignment. And lastly, where can alignment be found? We're going to cover that. It can be found in speech patterns, speech volume, dress, activities, hobbies. It can be found in a number of ways, including body language. Looking at the DISC basics. So DISC. If you haven't taken the test, take it, right? Because you've got to know yourself first and foremost. I know that I talk really fast. I talk really loud. I'm a big high fiver, and my energy can be overpowering. And because I know that, when I start speaking with somebody who I have identified as maybe an analytic or an amiable, I'll immediately slow down my rate of speech. I'll immediately soften my tone and my volume a little bit and make sure that there are longer pauses so that I can show them that every word I speak is calculated just like theirs. But down here, you've got it all broken out for you. DISC. D actually stands for dominant, because drivers are dominant. They want to dominate. They want to be in charge. They are big, bad lions of the jungle. Fiery red is the color of drivers. Then you've got your I's. The best word for an I is influential. They are influential. They are talkative. They are fun. They are smiley. They are Sandra, truly blessed Pereira, who is on this video, getting her fucking nails done right now. Right? Expressive as they come. Look at her laughing right now, all that body language. Then you've got the S's. S stands for stability. Amiables require stability. They don't want to make waves. They want consistency. They're the chameleons of the animal kingdom. They're going to blend right in. They don't want to be seen. They don't want to be hunted. They don't want to hunt either. They just want to be there. And their color is earth green. By the way, I skipped it because I was so busy talking about Sandra, your expressives, the pink flamingos. They want to stand out. They want to be seen. They want to have fun. They're bright. Sunshine yellow is their color. And then your analytics. These are your tortoises. The C stands for cautious. Cautious, calculated. Cool blue is their color. Data, facts, logistics, process is key. If there's questions on that, guys, you can just unmute yourselves and talk if you want, because the chat, I can't see it right now because I'm sharing my screen, but that's good, whatever. This is one of my favorite ways to remember DISC. Draw a line down the middle of your page. Draw a line through that across the middle. On the top, write outgoing. On the bottom, write reserved. Over to the right-hand side, looking at your page, people-oriented. And over to the left-hand side, looking at your page, task-oriented. If you get nothing else out of this, just take a picture of this, draw this, write this down. Because if you can always remember that drivers are in that top left quadrant, that they're outgoing and task-oriented, you know that driver is going to be a little bit louder. They're going to share what they want to share, and they don't care about how your weekend was. They want to accomplish the goal. Whereas, you know, the opposite of that would be people-oriented and reserved, which is down below in the bottom right-hand quadrant, looking at it, and those are your amiables. They care about people, and they're going to be more reserved, a little bit more quiet, keep things a little bit tighter to the chest, okay? And so looking at it this way, you immediately know how to change your tone, your cadence, and your body language based on outgoing versus reserved. How you shake hands, how you introduce yourself falls under those two. And then what you talk about. See, a lot of people confuse expressives and analyticals because both of them talk a lot. You don't identify somebody by if they talk a lot or a little. It's what they talk about. And those over to the right will talk about people or how things will impact people's feelings, your amiables. Over to the left, they're going to talk about the task, the mission, the objective. And a lot of times they're not going to share exactly what they know maybe, or exactly what they want, but they want to have a conversation about it. The driver will tell you what to get done. The analytical wants to discuss it. Going down one by one to really go deep on the D's. Driver doesn't mean dick. Everyone who says drivers are such dicks, they're so mean. Shut up. Don't be a baby. They're easy. They're just direct. A driver is actually the easiest client to work with. They're going to tell you exactly what they want, because as you can see the little plus sign there, the single most important thing to a driver is results. They want to achieve the result. That's it. Because their biggest fear is being taken advantage of in terms of time and money. You waste my time, you waste my money, I'm done with you. I want nothing to do with you. And it's because of that that drivers speak quickly. By speaking quickly, they can save time. By leveraging statements and telling you exactly what they want and how they want it, they're cutting down on time and also improving certainty. Drivers like to have control or to feel control. So if you've never read the book, Never Split the Difference, pick it up, and you'll know that with drivers, leverage option closes. Would you prefer, because I know you said XYZ, to do this or do this? Giving them the options creates the illusion of control. You can also identify drivers or anybody by their jobs, right? Drivers will be in leadership positions. Nazar, what are you?
ID.
You're a fucking driver. All day. Not a dick, but a driver. Nazar focuses on getting things done. He is objective. he is an entrepreneur. Drivers are naturally CEOs, entrepreneurs, right? People who want to lead the charge, right? As far as how they dress, not always in a suit, but they will dress well put together. And this is really important. You can tell someone is a driver because they take pride in their appearance in general. Most drivers, not saying they're going to be bodybuilders, but they're going to be pretty physically fit. They're going to usually be on the healthier side. And more often than not, when you see them, they'll be somewhat put together. You're not going to see a driver with their pajamas on out Saturday morning eating breakfast, right? They're going to put some real freaking clothes on. Drivers also always have something about them, something they're obsessed with, right? For myself, it's watches. I don't drive a fancy car. I don't have a fancy, flashy clothes, fancy house. I love watches. And I will always notice someone else with a nice watch. And that's where I like to kind of have my thing. Find out what the driver's thing is. Cars, shoes, watches, clothes, could be anything. But if you find out what it is, you can get massive alignment there, right? Lisa Chinotti's a massive driver. You guys have probably met her. Look at her freaking shoes. Nazar, I feel like for you to be a car, no, what are you?
I like cars, yeah.
I thought so, yeah. Because remember, you used to tell me about your Tesla all the time. And you got them like right when it came out. You were fresh. You weren't one of these followers because you're a driver. Common colors for drivers, guys, black and red. Remember, fiery red? They're going to make decisions based on emotion. The gut. See, the driver, they've done the homework. They know what they want. If a driver goes to buy a car, they know the car they want, what they'll pay, how they're going to pay for it. When you talk to drivers in real estate, they might not be pre-approved yet, but they're also not dummies. If a driver is actually wanting to go see a home with you, they've done the homework. They've done the due diligence. More often than not, they already know they're going to get pre-approved or what they're going to get pre-approved for. They just need to take that next step. They probably also have a guy, right? Or a girl. Pushing them to get pre-approved because that makes you feel more confident is what's going to take you away from the driver. With them, it's all about initiative. That's the magic word. Another pro tip with drivers. If you're sending them properties, don't just send properties and say, here are some houses, take a look. Here are 3 homes I think you're going to like because XYZ. Here is when they're available to be seen. Let me know which ones work best and I'll go book them. Give them the house, what they like about it, and when they can see it. You're saving them a step by giving up front the availability. Make sense? Couple head nods over there. Sweet. Awesome. We'll come back to drivers in a minute. The best type of questions to ask them are what-based questions. What would you like to do? What would you like to see from me? My favorite one with a driver, because they got egos a little bit and you can fuck with them. Complimenting them works really well. What can I do to earn your business? I was talking to a seller lead yesterday, doing some calls with agents. And guy owns a really nice 3-family in Rosendale, south of Boston. Probably worth 1.5 to 2 million. And guy was a massive driver, blah, 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 whatever. And the final question I asked him was, Chuck, between now and 6 months when you want to sell the home, what can I do to truly impress you and earn your business? And he literally stopped. He goes, I like you. You know what? Keep calling me, not too much, but keep calling me, and I'll make sure that you get the shot. Just asking it. He wants to feel special. Drivers especially. They got an ego. Stroke it. You can also kind of tell a lot of, well, I'll get back to that after. Let's talk about expressives. These are easy. Single most important thing to an expressive is being liked. They want you to like them. Their biggest fear is being disliked or not being liked. Expressives will talk a lot. They love to chit chat. They're going to tell you everything about their family, the divorce they're going through, how their husband cheated, whatever. They're going to tell you all of it. Listen, one of the most important things to them is feeling good, right? Feeling good, feeling that things are fun, flowing. They are going to be in jobs that work with people. So you're going to see them as salespeople are great expressives, or expressives are great salespeople. Customer service, depending on the company, the product, usually you won't see them in inside sales. It'll be directing with or dealing with people in person. Expressives will wear patterns and colors, bright colors, bright patterns. They're going to make buying decisions based on emotion as well. The best type of questions to ask them are any questions that are open-ended. Closed-ended questions are ones that can be answered by yes or no. So it starts with is, are, do. That's a closed-ended question. It starts with who, what, where, when, why, how. That's open-ended. Expressives are the only personality type that you can ask why without being argumentative. When working with expressives, I caution you, because so many of us, it happens all the time, talk to an agent, they meet with a seller or a buyer. They love me, Jason. We're high-fiving. Like, they hug me on the way out. Oh, I got the business. 4 weeks later, where's the business? Where's the contract? What happened? I don't know. They just stopped responding. What happens is they're so scared of not being liked that they don't tell you what's actually going on, that they don't like you, can't work with you, don't want to work with you. So they just stop answering. The other thing that happens with your expressives is they love people, right? So if you don't get that contract signed, the second you're out of sight, you're out of mind. And then they go and meet with another agent who is smiley and fun and bubbly and high-fiving and hugging. They forgot that you exist and they sign the contract with them. It happens all of the time. They will also be the ones to lead you on. Yeah, I promise I'm working on the pre-approval. I'm waiting for a couple things to get done and get a call back. No, you have a 520 credit score, which is why you don't actually have it. You just don't want to tell me that because you think I'll dislike you if you tell me, right? With your expressives, lean into the relationship, but don't let them misguide you. Remember, you are there to accomplish an objective, right? You can still be business focused with an expressive, and they actually need it and they'll love you for it when you do. Amiables. The most important thing to amiables are trust and actual relationships. Amiables are people, but they're people who need to actually feel a connection. See, the expressive is the guy or girl at a party who high fives everyone, knows them a little bit, but never talks to them outside of that party. The amiable is the one who sticks right next to their best friend the whole party, talks to no one else unless they have to, and when they go pee, their best friend's coming with them, right? They stick to people they know, like, trust, no matter what, right? Now, that's not a bad thing. It just means that in order to build trust, what do you have to do? Well, you have to execute consistent action over time. You're not going to earn their trust by calling them once. And what I'll tell you is with amiables, where agents fall off, is they call only to discuss business, or they only call when they have something business related and the person feels like a number. That's one of their biggest fears. So make sure, right, again, you're there to accomplish a business objective, but be prepared to let them speak about other things and allow it by asking. Now, their biggest fear is pressure. You cannot force an amiable's timeline. They won't always tell you their exact timeline because they're so scared of pressure. But what you'll find is when you get the genuine relationship with those amiables, guys and girls, once you have it, they will tell you everything. They will be the most loyal clients ever, and they will be the ones to write 55 reviews for you, post you on their social media, invite you to their holiday parties, and introduce you to all their family and friends. They're amazing. Your amiables will speak soft, slowly. They'll be very non-committal at the beginning of a relationship. They'll dress modestly, mostly beiges, off-whites, right? They make their buying decisions based on human logic. How many of you know what, anybody not know what human logic is? So like logic is 1 + 1 is 2. Human logic is logical reason-making or decision-making based on feelings. AKA, my human logic is different from Nazar's because we have different life experiences. You can never guess what an amiable is thinking or how they're thinking it or why. I'll give you a story. We had an agent with a client, showed them about 30 houses, wrote 0 offers. Every time it was not the right one. Oh, agent came to me, Jason, I want to fire them. I hate them. This is such a waste of time. It's like a $900,000 price point. Said, talk to me. After showings, are we doing recaps? Are we doing after action reports? Are we getting coffee and talking through it? What are we doing? Nope, I'm just sending more properties. I said, first step, they're an amiable. You got to give them time. If you give them time to sit with you and talk, they're going to give you information, right? The only way to get time and to save time is to give time, especially with amiables. So the agent started doing that. Brought all the properties they saw, talked through what worked and what didn't, and came to find out that the amiable's biggest fear and reason for saying no to all these properties was that the amiable's mom was 60. And in 20 years, when her mom is 80, if her mom isn't healthy enough to live alone, and if her dad passes away, she wants to make sure she has a house that her mom can move into and live with her in her own living space without bothering them. You could have never guessed that. You could have never guessed, by the way, her father's still alive and they're both very healthy in their own house. But she's making buying decisions based on what might happen 20 years from now. Wanting her mom to be able to live with her in an in-law separate, right? So once we got that out of her, we got her to also agree that, well, it doesn't have to have an in-law now. If we found a home that had a basement that was finished or could be finished, that would be suitable. We showed 3 more houses, wrote an offer, got it accepted. And to this day, the mom is still healthy, dad is healthy, they don't live with her yet. Moral of the story, we just had to give them the time to understand how to navigate the objective or the obstacle. Looking at your analyticals. Sandra, this is for you, babe. This is what you asked about. Analyticals. This is the type that scares more than anybody. Oh, and amiable job types. Jobs that really care about people. Preschool teachers, teachers in general, nurses, vet techs, right? Jobs where they do something that feels good, like you're actually helping people. Your expressives are salespeople, like we talked about, performers, all that. I'll send you guys these slides too. Analyticals. These are your doctors, lawyers, accountants, anyone who lives in detail, right? Anyone who lives in details, data, numbers, figures, accuracy is important. The single most important thing to an analytical is process. What do most agents never have? A fucking process. We all just throw spaghetti at the wall. Hey, tomorrow we're going to do this. Hey, what's your weekend look like? I found 4 houses. You need a process, right? With analyticals, always do a buyer consult. I don't care how many homes they've bought. With analytical sellers, always present your entire marketing process. Always walk them through your pre-listing process, your listing process, and your transactional process. They live and die by process because in their head, things go 1, 2, 3, 4. Not 1, 4, 2, 3, 5, right? Show them you're like them by working in process. I'm going to give you guys an anecdote as well to help you identify this because you probably had it. But their also biggest fear is being wrong. Analyticals do a lot of research. They pride themselves on knowledge and information and being intelligent. And they do so much research, Sandra, like you said, that they want to tell you all about it. They want you to know how smart they are. And like you said, sister, they want to show you they're smarter than you. They want to show you that they can do your job better than you. It happens. That's what they pride themselves on. Let them. Because their biggest fear is being told they're wrong. And what happens so often is they do some research, they make a comment or a statement that isn't totally accurate. And we crush all rapport because we want to prove them wrong or prove that we're right, but that doesn't help us move forward. It evokes emotion and not positive emotion, and it costs us the business. You've got more to gain in not proving them wrong than you do in being right. These clients, they're going to speak more slowly, more calculated. And the cool thing with them and with every personality type, if you find that someone uses a specific word, start to use it, not aggressively. But we had a super analytical client the other day, and he said to the agent, I'll be arriving at 5 p.m. for the show, or at 4:58 for the showing at 5. And the agent said back to him, perfect, Frank. I'm going to be arriving at 4:50 so I can get there a little bit ahead of you, prepare the home, and make sure you're set up for success. Can't wait to meet. And literally, his tone saying, can't wait to see you there, was so positive and happy. And I said to the agent, the fact that you used arriving right there, everything. You spoke his freaking language right after he did it. That creates immediate alignment. And what's cool, you can get in sync with somebody. I learned this from a coach prior, where you start following them physically or verbally, they'll then start to follow you. And when they do, you know you've got them. You know you're in true rapport. Your analyticals will dress for the occasion. If they're going hiking, they've got a freaking pack for a week, boots, poles, socks, UV protective gear. They dress logically. They make their buying decisions based on logic. And that's like 1 + 1 is 2, price per square foot. It's got to make sense. In competitive buying situations, writing offers in competitive situations, you've got to be prepared to have the data from the listing agent to say, here's how many offers, here's what they look like, at least from what I could surmise. Here's what we've got to do to win. Here's what it means for you. What are your thoughts? If you just say to them, there's multiple offers, we've got to offer more. Well, they're stuck in price per square foot and comps. You're throwing that spaghetti doesn't make sense to them. It confuses them. And the best type of questions to ask them are how? How would you like to proceed? How do you foresee this going? How, in your opinion, is the best way to move forward? And Sandra, as the story I promised, so we had a client, I'm not going to share his name, but a house came on the market on a Friday at $720,000. He said, I need it, I want it, I love it, I want that house. Wrote an offer immediately, sight unseen, with an inspection for info only unless aggregate repairs exceed $20,000. He offered $780,000, 60 grand over list price in Westford. Without seeing it, let's go. Got accepted. Day after it gets accepted, he calls the agent on my team and says, I want to renegotiate. They listed the living square footage as 3,500, but 1,200 of it's below grade. I wouldn't live below grade. They misrepresented it. I want to lower my offer. Guess how much? $60K, exactly what he paid over. The agent started arguing with him. No, 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 because this basement was fully finished, floors, heat, insulation, 2 forms of egress, beautiful bathroom, all done to code with permits, had a great wet bar, like beautiful. It's finished space. The agent gave him the definition of finished space and living space. He said, no, I wouldn't live there. And they spent 35 minutes arguing and ruining rapport. I got on the phone with him and simply got his perspective, all of that. I said, here's what we can do. We've got 2 options. Process. Option 1, I can go and tell them we want a $60,000 price reduction. Knowing this is their first weekend on market, sir, they might just tell us, you know what, they're not going to agree. They're going to put it back on the market. Best of luck. What questions do you have there? Nothing. Great. Our other option is you've got your inspection contingency. Now, I haven't seen the home, but I'm really good at negotiating. And I guarantee you that I will find and negotiate the highest amount of credits for you for any items found that impact structure, safety, and health if you let me. Who are you using for your inspection? He said, I don't have anyone. I said, great. I'm going to send you a couple of inspectors, interview them, pick who you'd like. When would be the best time to do your inspection? He told me the next day, whatever. I said, here's option 2. Book your inspection, hold your inspection. After you finish it, you'll get the report. Let's review it together, blah, 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 blah. I broke it down to steps and process for him. He said, I like that, Jason. So I can't guarantee what I'll get you, but I will get you the most amount of money possible for any legitimate issues. Told him after the inspection, give me a punch list, 5 to 10 items at most that impact structure, safety, and health. How many items do you think he gave me? 29. Remember like it was yesterday. Some of them were dirty carpet because you don't know what the carpet could be dirty with. That was his reasoning. Another one of them was scratching hardwood. I'm like, dude, structure, safety, health. And again, I have 2 options here. I can argue with him over the fact that a dirty carpet isn't negotiable, or I can shut my mouth, move on to what is the objective at hand, and go to bat for him. Long story short, was able to negotiate $21,000 or $22,000 off of the sales price, went from $780 to $748, which all things considered, not the, wasn't the worst, whatever, or 768, excuse me. No, 748. I suck at math. And he was happy to move forward. Listing agent wanted to kill me because what I did was pretty shitty. But at the end of the day, we were able to get him to move forward. His goal wasn't to get the house at 780, ever. His goal from the start was to get it here, negotiate here. But focusing on him being wrong and telling him the living square footage isn't below grade wasn't helping me move forward. So with your analyticals, guys, I hope that story helps because we've been there. I saw some people laughing too, which is awesome because that means that you've lived it. You got to focus on the objective. What would you like me to do for you? I know I'm pretty much out of time, Nazar, so I'm going to fly through these 2 because it's 30 minutes, right?
We got some time if you want to.
Let me just shut up whenever. Relationships, decision-making, and communication with DISC. So opposites in life create balance, right? I'm a DI. My D is a 99. My I is like an 80 something. Then I got my S and my C. My wife is like a freaking 99S. She's the most loving, caring, supportive person in the world, super patient. And that's balance. Because if we were both drivers, it would just be decision, 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 go, go, go. Nothing would ever go anywhere. So me being a DI, her being an SI gives us balance, right? But in business, it doesn't always work that way. And so if you're Sandra, an IS, and you're working with a DC, you've got to understand what they need and communicate their way. And so being able to identify them is first, but then also knowing who the decision maker is. With my wife and I'm a driver. I make decisions emotionally, quickly, based on my gut. She's an amiable. She makes them slower based on human logic. How many of you think that she is the decision maker? The slower decision maker. Take out of the fact that she's my wife and she's a woman. We got 1, 2. So it's funny because I always see this. The slower decision maker is always the final decision maker. Why? Because the faster one is the visionary, right? I'll say to my wife, we need a vacation. I got to get out of here. I need some sun. She'll say, great. She'll send me 50 different places, 100 different resorts, the amenities, the cost, the food. I'm like, holy shit, I don't care. I just want some sun in a freaking beach chair. She ends up picking what we do, where we do it, when we do it, how much we spend, right? I pick the idea, she picks the details. She's the final decision maker. Same thing with sellers and buyers, right? So often I go on every listing appointment, almost company leads with agents. So I'm going on 15, 20 listing appointments a week. We'll sign 125 listings this quarter, new ones. And so often I see couples, and you can tell right away who the amiable or analytical is by how little they're talking or what they're asking throughout the appointment. And then I go on so many appointments that the expressive or the driver is doing all the talking, but it gets time to sign the contract and they just look over. What do you think, honey? Because they know that the other decision maker is going to slow them down the second we leave, and they don't want to deal with that. Or what happens, this happened recently, they sign the contract, the amiable or analytical says nothing, but they've got objections in their head. Two agents went on a listing appointment, signed the listing, no objections, 6%, great. Called me after, raging about it. 2 weeks go by, couldn't get them on the phone. 2 more weeks go by, couldn't get them on the phone. Finally get a phone call from them. It was from the wife who said almost nothing during the appointment. Hey, we're going with somebody else. Just felt like a better fit. The husband was a driver who's, yep, sell it, most money, let's go, I'm in. They totally left the wife out of it. And once they left, she grabbed her husband's ear and said, what about this? What about this? What about this? What about this? He said, you know what, honey, you're right. I just want to sell. I don't care who we do it with. And she picked another agent. So I hope that helps. When you're communicating with different people and different personality types, drivers, communicate with purpose, always give closure, always tell them, I'll be doing X, Y, Z. If you don't tell a driver what you're doing, they assume you're not doing anything. If you talk to them that you're going to book an appointment for tomorrow and 5 hours go by and they haven't heard from you, they're emailing you or they're calling you or texting you, or they're calling someone else. Initiative, initiative, initiative. Don't ever let them question what you're doing. With drivers, brag about what you're doing. When you're negotiating, don't just say, I talked to the listing agent, here's what I got. Talk to the listing agent, Tessa, I owned her. I got all these questions out of her. Got her to tell me this, this, this. She loves us. We got a good chance if we do blank, right? Build it up a little bit. Don't lie, but make it a little bit bigger, better. Always give them options and personalize everything to them. Don't ever send them a drip email, a drip text. Personalize it. With your expressives, always call them, be ready to talk, be ready to listen. If you text, use emojis, keep emails fun. When you send emails to expressives, send ideas with space in between and leverage storytelling as the sales technique to convince them, right? When you're writing an offer or talking about putting on the market at an event price at a lower price than fair market value to get competition going, don't explain the philosophy or the strategy. Explain a story. Oh my God, Nazar, I worked with the cutest couple not too long ago. They remind me of you guys, actually. They were pregnant as well. And we put their home on the market for $20,000 below what we thought it would sell at and what they were hoping for. You wouldn't believe how many people were in this house looking at their pictures, complimenting everything. And long story short, they got $60,000 over list price, $40,000 more than we wanted. What would you do with $40,000 more, right? Telling the story to the expressive, imagination. With the amiables, always schedule the time and the purpose of the conversation. Limit surprise phone calls. Surprises kill deals and create unnecessary emotion. With them, leverage feel, felt, found. I understand how you feel, blah, 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 blah. I have clients who have felt the same way, blah, 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 blah. What I have found is by doing X, Y, Z, we accomplish A, B, C. And then your analyticals, they'll call you all hours of the day. They have no respect for your time or your barriers. They're going to text you as well, and they're going to text you very long messages along with emails. You have to set the tone. Don't answer all the time. If you ever don't answer, just send a text. In a meeting, we'll call you back tomorrow. What time works best? They'll respect your time if you make them. And you have to, because otherwise they're going to take advantage of you. They're going to drive you nuts, and then you're going to act out. You're going to act in a way you wish your ideal self wouldn't. When talking to them, always be objective. Focus on, again, the objective. Moving forward, not proving right, not proving wrong. Let them believe what they want to believe. You're not going to convince them anyway. Never guess. If you guess something or tell them something that you're not 1,000% sure of, they're going to research it. They're going to bring it up, and you're going to feel like a dumbass. So don't put yourself in that situation. It's okay to say, Emily, I don't know the answer to that, but I'm going to go find it for you. It's a great question. Where'd you come up with that? And move on. Lastly, document everything. Always follow your calls with emails and always present the next steps. The last two slides, this one is my favorite, then I'll shut up. Who's ever studied love languages? Love language, the 5 love languages. Really, really cool. It ties right in with DISC. I read this really cool study done at Harvard Business School about this relationship specifically. Based on personality types, you know how they like to be loved or give love. Physical touch, expressives like high fives, right? Fist pumps, whatever. And amiables, hugs. They love physical touch. Don't go physical touch your driver. It's awkward. They don't like it. Same with the analytical. Acts of service, doing things to save someone time. Drivers, take initiative, save them time. Do something for them. If they say they're going to look something up, go do it for them. Don't tell them you're going to sometimes either. Just say, here, I did this for you, right? Always, always, always do what you can to save them time. Same with analyticals, but with them specific to gathering info. They don't want you to do things for them because they want things done a certain way, but they want you to gather info for them. If they have questions on permits, call the town and get something documented. Don't ever do it verbally. Words of affirmation, drivers because they have ego, expressives because compliments mean you like them. They love compliments. Quality time, amiables because they like relationships, and analyticals because they want to be heard for all the smart things that they read online. And everybody likes gifts. What changes are the types of gifts that you give. I have 3 books I love for DISC I recommend you read. The first one is Stop Squatting with Your Spurs On. It's written for 5th graders, which is why I love it. It's a funny title. It's a great book about how to simplify communication in life. The second one is Surrounded by Idiots, another phenomenal book, because when you don't understand people's perspective, you think they're an idiot and you get frustrated with them. When you put yourself in their shoes, you see the perspective, you start to give a little bit more grace. And the last one is Versatile Selling, which is a very scientific approach to identifying DISC in sales in life. 2:08 p.m. How'd we do?
You're great. I've got lots of questions for you. So, obviously we can spend literally weeks on the DISC profile and how
Totally.
to is and stuff like that. So a couple of thoughts that I have is when you're dealing with, and you mentioned a little bit of this, 2 different types of, people in the same transaction, right? So you've got the wife or the husband or, whoever the 2 people are, and they're 2 different personality types.
Yep.
How do you manage speaking to both of them in the way in which they like to be communicated with so that you can, especially at the listing table or at the buyer consultation table, how do you speak to the expressive expressively? How do you speak to the driver analytical in its way so that you can build rapport with both of them at the same time? What are your
Yeah. So the first key to that is being able to identify who they are, because how you build rapport is going to change with everybody based on it. Naturally, at a listing table, for example, or at the table at a listing appointment, the driver or expressive will always, always do the majority of the talking in the beginning. Towards the end, if there's an analytical there, they'll step up. But what I would tell you is the most important thing here is body language to create inclusion, because the analytical and the amiable will naturally start to disassociate a little bit. So making sure that you're looking at them, that you're smiling at them, asking them questions directly, because I know we went on one recently and the husband did not let the wife talk. He wanted to tell us everything and answer every question. And so we would literally turn to her and say, Mary, what are your thoughts about blah, 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 right? So making sure to physically engage them with your body language. The second part to that, Nazar, I think, is realizing that once you're in rapport, DISC isn't as important then until you have to overcome an objection. Once you're in rapport, you've got a relationship, it's easier. So really what it comes down to is how do you get into rapport with both in a short period of time? What I'll tell you is it's going back to that quote at the start, seeking first to understand, then to be understood. But the other one that works with every personality type is that the greatest salespeople have, as a Stephen Covey quote, have the heart of a teacher and the mind of a student. Always, always, always strive not to convince, but to teach and to understand perspective and thought processes. And every personality type will relate to that.
Love that. When you're trying to get someone off the fence, and you're talking to an analytical, what is the strategy there?
Give me a scenario. So on the fence, buyer or seller?
Let's say you're talking to a seller and they're just, Like, I need some time to think about it. I need time to research more before I make a
Love it.
decision.
Because analyticals will be the ones to say, I need to think about it.
Uh-huh.
Hey, Nazar, in my experience, and I work with a lot of clients just like you, when people need to think about it, it's that they're missing some information. What information can I help you get that's going to make your decision easier? And again, the focus isn't on selling or signing. It's on, again, initiative, information. What information can I help you get? Because with analyticals, they're typically not decisive in the first meeting. So expect it, future pace yourself, because if you push them, you'll lose them. Closing the loop and booking the next appointment's key, but always making sure that you know where their thought process is. So I don't want to do is assume that they're not signing because of commission, right? But come to find out, they've been stuck on the list price the whole time and they want to price it $10,000 higher. If I'm coming at them trying to cut my commission, I'm not actually hitting them where they want to be met. And so with analyticals in that scenario, who's on the fence, I want to think about it, isn't really on the fence. It's teach me more. You haven't hit something on the head yet. If a driver objects to you, well, we're not sure if we want to sell. Hey, no sweat. Originally, you were selling because you wanted to get to blank to be closer to your kids. If you don't do that now, when will you do that? And hitting them back with their goal and what they said, right? With most personality types, if they're on the fence, we don't convince people to sell or buy. Our job is to convey to them that I am better than all of you at helping them accomplish their goals. I'm selling them on me, on using me to accomplish their goals, which happens to be buying a house or selling a house. But I'm not selling house. And so on the fence, are they on the fence to sell or on the fence on me? Because two different things. On the fence on me, I fucked up, but I'm going to figure out how, why, and fix it. On the fence on selling, how do I maintain the relationship so that when you're ready, I get the business?
Yeah, I think the thing that you said, you just glossed over real quick, but it's important to bring it back to that, is that you said what is key is setting the next appointment. And a lot of agents will be like, obviously their goal is to get the listing signed right there on the spot. And if it doesn't happen, they're like, all right, well, let me know. I love when they say that. Let me know. And, or, all right, well, I guess I'll follow up with you later. And then that's it.
Yeah.
Like set the next damn appointment. And if you do that, then we're like, well, I'm meeting with so-and-so and so-and-so. Awesome. Well, let's set an appointment after that time. We can get together and discuss at that point in time. Like it's just whatever that next appointment is, whatever the next thing you need them to do is what you want to get done. So it's
even when you sign the listing, there's countless times I see agents sign listings. All right, well, I'll call you in a few weeks. And then they think about it. They lost the excitement. I changed my mind. Always close the loop. And if you ever don't know what to say on a follow-up, it's because you didn't close the loop. Like you nailed it, dude.
Yeah. Yeah. Any other piece of advice you give on the disc when it comes to helping buyers and sellers, or as us as agents? I mean, like, what are some ways when we can practice identifying the disc in people when we meet them? Because, sometimes over the phone is hard because you can't, you can hear tone, but you can't see body language. And a lot of times
Totally.
it comes off that way. So what's some strategies when you meet a person to do it?
So, I mean, you can't see body language, but you can hear body language. And every time I work with an inside sales agent within my company or an agent, if they have a question on a deal or a client, my first question is, what's their personality type? And I would encourage you guys to start to really try to figure them out. And in your CRM, whatever CRM you use, put the personality type right front and center, because it's going to change a lot. I had to call someone the other day and she's a high amiable. And I just finished like my second Celsius of the day. I'm fired up, ready to go nuts. I had to call her and say, Linda, it's Jason. How are you? How's your summer? Like, I want to blow my brains out, but that alignment is huge. If I called her and say, hey, Linda, it's Jason. How you been, sister? Poor Linda would hang up her phone or have to change out her hearing aids. Like, so knowing who they are, but then the way to tell if it's working, are you progressing through the relationship? Right? When you know who they are and you've created alignment, I'm telling you, without any level of uncertainty, business becomes easier. Your clients will like you more. You will have more fun. There will be less emotion and less objections because they feel like you, or like you are like them.
I think it's critical to realize, you guys, when you're dealing with clients that are relatives, they don't second guess anything you say.
Right.
And the reason is because they have 100% confidence and trust in you that you're going to lead them in the right direction. When you're dealing with people that you don't know and they don't know you, if you can't build rapport, then whatever you say is going to be taken with a grain of salt. They're going to be like, they're going to question everything because they're going to say, is this person doing what's best for them or are they doing what's best for me?
Yeah.
And that's in every single step of the way. And every single time there's a confrontation, you have to teach them something, train them, help them understand a concept. They're gonna be like, nah, they're gonna put up a fight all the way through. But if you can continue, and it's not just a one-time conversation, it's over and over and over again, build rapport, build rapport, build rapport. Say you're gonna do something and then do what you say you're gonna do, builds trust. And so that when you get to the point when you have to have that difficult conversation, they're gonna say, you know what? Jason's doing what's best for me. We know that, and therefore we're gonna heed his advice. So, and that's super critical. And obviously the disc comes directly into contact with or in relation to that because you have to learn that to be able to know how to build rapport with them properly.
People don't believe what you tell them, guys and girls. They believe what they experience, and what they experience is always their perspective. And to be able to align with them puts you in understanding their perspective.
Yeah. Jason, thank you so much for taking the time
Yeah,
to,
man.
oh man, appreciate you. If you guys have any other questions, either you can, DM him or send me a whatever, and we can get, I mean, we can literally talk about this topic forever. I encourage every single one of you that's on here that listens to it in the future or now to really take the time to learn how to, first of all, know what your personality type is. And I think it's also important to know that our personality types change over the years. Right. And so like learn what that is, because before, like, my C was like at a 0 and now
Same.
it's higher. Just because I've learned to like be more patient and be more kind and loving to people. I was a big dick in the past. And now I'm, less.
Long ago.
And so it's a process. And so, retaking the disc for yourself and then also learning about people. And I think it's a fun thing to do, right? Like get to talk to people in the office and be like, hey, let me learn about your disc. And I bet you this, and make assumptions. And then they're like, nope, that's not me at all. And also none of this is 100%. Right. Like when you're talking about certain things about me, I'm like, you know what, that was how it was, but I'm not anymore. Or that, even though I'm a driver, that is not significant or important to me. And so like, don't make 100% assumptions because people can change, and acknowledging that people, they're not going to be 100% of something. They're going to be a range within those disc profiles. Everyone has a level of something in all of them. It's just depending on also like the experience that they're having is going to dictate what stands out the most, right? Like I might be more of a driver analytical. If I'm looking at making a decision based on a certain thing that's not as significant, I'm going to lead with my D. But if it's a bigger financial investment, my I is going to kick in a little bit higher, and I'm going to say, wait a minute, I'm going to analyze this just a little bit more before I make a decision. So anyway,
Environment. You got it. It was helpful.
Yeah. All right, guys, have an amazing Thursday, and we'll catch you guys next time. Bye.